Hey there, Apple Valley. And are you tired of feeling like decisions are being made for you instead of with you? And do you ever wonder what the town council is actually voting on or why that new development is suddenly popping up next to your favorite spot? Well, welcome to the High Desert Insiders, a podcast dedicated to pulling back the curtain on our local government and the issues that truly matter right here in the High Desert. So we are your hosts for today. I am Scott, and with me I have Ted.
Ted, I am here.
And every week, me and someone else, maybe Ted, at points, will be diving deep into the heart of Apple Valley politics. We're not here for drama or anything. We are here for the discussion. So today we're starting our monthly series on the town council meetings, and we'll cover topics from the last council meeting and topics on the agenda for the future one. What's going to be the big issue topics and what we need to be aware of, and so things you can research more into if you need to. The next one is going to be December 9th, and we are hoping that you are better aware of what's going on here in your own town and prepared if you wish to attend the town council meeting, which is at 6:30, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's 6:30.
6:30 in the town council chambers. So this is where your voice gets heard, your questions get answered, and we all become a little bit more informed and engaged residents of Apple Valley. So with that being said,
Scott, I'm like super jealous. I mean, you got the headset, you got the phone, you got the lighting. It's like I only got my back window here, and I got some plants back here. If I'm going to be doing this, I need to get some professional equipment here. It's so like I got my phone here. I gotta step up my game here. I'm jealous.
I do this because this is my studio for different stuff on YouTube that I do as well. So that's my secret, at least. All right. Where'd my notes go now? Because it all disappeared. So we have the agenda up here. Sorry, and I just dropped my notes here, so I'm bringing them back up because I can't survive without the notes I've written. Nope. Well, I'll figure it out as we go. So, all right, Ted. So we had our last town council meeting on November 18th. You were there for at least a good portion of it, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I had my officiating going, but it's like I busted my butt to get there as fast as I could.
Yep. You're a busy man for sure. And so basically the big things that I wanted to touch on is a couple things I learned about how the agenda works and what they talk about, and a couple of projects. And one of them I had no idea about, and that is the bridge or the highway bridge program. Are you familiar with that at all, sir?
Yeah, with the expansion of the bridge project, yeah, they've been talking about that for years. They've been waiting to get the grants and funding together to get it done.
Yeah, I can't find the documents here, but I did some research onto it, and for everybody who isn't aware, basically it's connected with Measure I. I was not here in this state when Measure I was passed, but it's basically in combination with the federal government, as long as the city or town municipality provides 20% of funding through a stable funding source, the federal government will provide about 80% of necessary funds to rehabilitate bridges that are in complete disrepair, is the short version. And so the Bear Valley Bridge in Apple Valley here was actually built in the 60s with wood pilings and then improved in 1998 with concrete pilings, but it is on a scale of 100 is at a 3, so it is condemned by the state of California as of 2014. So we desperately need help. And
yeah, it's been way overdue to get this done.
Yeah. So basically, we have the project will start in January now, finally, but they got a total of $43 million together for it. $5 million from a county Measure I, which is similar but different, and then 6 million from Measure I here in the town. We got some miscellaneous money from other funds that they talked about as well. But the big thing is, right, something to keep in mind. It's they are going to be widening the bridge about 45 feet, put in bicycle lanes, all that stuff. It's going to take 3 years though, 3 years. And they promised. Keep in mind, they promised in the town council they'd keep 2 lanes open each way at all times. So we'll see how that goes. No guarantees.
Oh, that's going to definitely do that, but it's kind of like the traffic going in and out of that area. It's going to be a nightmare
Oh,
for that period of time.
for the foreseeable future, 100%.
Oh yeah, and you're going to get a lot of people sitting there moaning and groaning about it.
Yep, yep. So you should just be aware of that and avoid Bear Valley if you can. I know I do in general, but the other thing they talked about that I thought was interesting, if they have any unspent funds from the year, they put into programs like they have a few like senior activity programs, residential rehab program, loan programs, and commercial ones. I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know, jury's out on spending money on this kind of stuff, but it is what it is. I think it's a cool idea. They help seniors with programs like Aqua Zumba and pickleball and all that kind of stuff, which so a lot of times they can't afford because they're on fixed incomes. So I don't know your thoughts on that stuff in general there, Ted.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like I want to make sure that it's being used for that type of stuff. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
seniors that definitely only so many times you can go play bingo, I guess, for seniors. But it's definitely something that they need to. I would say that they instead of just playing on pickleball, go to the seniors saying like, "What do you want to do?" Not just have it similar for Aquazuma. Not everybody's going to do Aquazuma or things like that. But I mean, I do. So when I go to the gym, I see a lot of people in Aquazuma. But it's like let me figure out this is the things we want to do, and put that money, put it into what seniors want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I think it was something a large amount. It's like $120,000 this year that rolled over from last year, last fiscal year into this program. So I don't know. I would assume seniors like Aqua Zumba and pickleball, but maybe we should ask them what they actually like.
Well, yeah, because I've never played pickleball in my life, and it's kind of like I don't know what they do. I don't like they should have like they should maybe like have like senior citizen groups and clubs, something like that, and invest in them and because I know they got the senior center over there on Central. Go over there, maybe invest that money into them, just to say like, what do you want, what you need, things like that.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I mean, I'm glad they're doing something productive with it, but I think we could invest it and talk to people for sure. So that's that. The other thing that they talked about, which I'll be honest there, Ted, I don't understand it completely, and maybe and it's not a huge deal for us. Maybe you might have some more insight into this. They voted to amend Title Code 9 of the lot. It has to do with lot splits or something, or if that's even a big deal. I'll be honest. So if they approved it unanimously, surprise. But I don't know if you had any further insight onto that, any quick statements, because it confused me.
Well, basically, it's kind of like the existing lots, and they're trying like as they're building in the future to try to keep because I know the state of California is getting on cities and towns to kind of like to have affordable housing and controlling the lot sizes, but it's kind of like they want to walk that fine line to kind of like do affordable housing, investment into there, but also try to keep the people who are wanting to have that split that have like people have like 2 acres, people like 1 acre, half acres, things like that.
Uh-huh.
Because
That's
they're always talking about the rural feel of the town and trying to keep the rural feel of La Valley, Apple Valley, what they want to do.
okay. That's kind of what I got the feeling of, but it is. I did find it interesting that. By the way, everything that we talked about or that I looked at the meeting, and every time they voted, you would appreciate this, Ted. It was all unanimous, every single one. So.
Oh yeah, no one, not a single one of them if you go throughout the whole time, they never there was no setting code.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
there's lots of things I could sit there and discuss about, but I mean, I don't want to sit there and get away from what we're doing here. But I mean, the waste of money that I keep finding out would just blow your mind.
yeah. And speaking of wasting money, that's a good transition there, Ted. The wants and warrants, or warrants schedule. I want to say wants and warrants. We talked about this. I was a cop, so I think of arresting people. But so they approved on here. They basically say they're approving all like commercial warrants and other types of warrants. And basically, what that is just um, payments that they have to make to people. And so I just touch on this briefly because I think this is an important aspect of being a good resident, and looking at this kind of stuff, right? Is like just read through the stuff once or twice every so often at a minimum, because you'll find some interesting things that they pay a ton of money on, and it kind of just surprises me a little bit, to be honest, but it doesn't at the same time. So like the one on here that I found, I just saw it. Where was it? They spent on Sing Center stuff for the, and then there we go, Sing Center LED lights, $1,000, which I don't know, that might be a good deal, but they spend a ton. There's a number of things on here that's for the Sing Center, even though it was donated to us. So
Well, yeah, they've spent close to $3 million on the place that was donated to them, and it goes back to money after money into this building that they sit there and say they don't know if it's going to break even. It sits there pretty much empty most of the time. And if you look on their budget, they sit there and say they put I don't know the exact dollar amount, but I'm going to say $700,000 into the center. They got exactly the same amount back in revenue.
hmm.
How do you do that? It'd be the exact down to the penny.
Because I don't understand that
That doesn't
exactly,
make
because
sense.
a lot of the events that have happened there have been like volunteer stuff, like the car show. Like the Rotary Club isn't paying to use the Sing Center, as far as I know, at least.
No, it's all volunteers, and it comes down to it's a tax write-off for the town.
Yep. And for people who are watching and or listening, and I should mention, I put it in my notes to say it earlier and I forgot. If you are listening to this on your podcast platform, there is a version on YouTube under the same name, and you can see a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. Should have mentioned that. But I do find it, for people who don't know what the Sing Center is, it is, and Ted, why don't you enlighten us more so you could explain it better than I can? If they don't know what the Sing Center is, never heard of it.
Basically, what it is, it's the buildings over on Central and Bear Valley Road that was built for a long time, and AMC rented the building there that used to be the old movie theater, and AMC left the building because there was no one going to the movies. I used to live right there, and it's a perfect place because I'd be the only one, my family be the only one watching the movie.
Yep.
And basically, um, they donated the building to the town, but they still own those two buildings on the right, and they only have a little bit of parking in front and on the side that belongs to the town. Everything else still belongs to the Sing Corporation.
Oh, so Sing still owns the big facility, or no? Or is that backwards?
The one you have your arrow at, that's the AMC Theater.
Right.
That was given to the town.
Okay, that's the one given to
And
the
they
town.
have the first two parking spots in front of it. And to the side, they have the first two parking spots there that was given to them.
Okay.
Everything to the right of that still belongs to the corporation.
Interesting. Do you know anything about the corporation? Because I don't, to be honest.
Not too much about it, but I know that they have a lot of connections with the town,
Okay.
and it's been sitting empty for over a decade.
Yeah. I remember when me and my wife were dating here and we came up here from college. We went down the hill to college and we'd come up and she lived up here. And I think we've been to movies, but this was 2002, 2003, something like that. So, and I should note, I saw and I actually got texted from a council member who shall remain anonymous, uh, about this event coming up here. I want to say the 13th. Have you heard of this? The Tinsel Time Tunes. I don't know
I've
if
heard of it. I didn't look too much into it,
they're
but
charging
I've heard.
$30 to listen to someone sing and stuff, and I don't, and then a bar or something. I don't know. It was just a weird. I don't know if they're trying to break even or if that. I don't know. It was odd to say the
Well,
least.
they're never going to break even.
Yeah,
It's kind of like when you put that much money into something and they're barely doing anything.
yeah,
I mean, no one's they're sitting there walking up. They're going to have all these shows from BBC to come up there. They're going to have all these business conferences there. And who in the world is going to go all the way out there when you got everything closer into town? No one's going to drive that far to have a business conference.
yeah, yeah. It's in the middle of nowhere, so I don't know why anyone would. But anywho, that was the gist of the meeting. There wasn't a whole lot, not a whole lot of big stuff in last November's town council. There was public comments, which I think were awesome as usual, and we'll touch on what those are if you're not even familiar with that here in just a second as we move on to the December 9th agenda. So they published this, and I talked to the one of the town clerk's office members, Kyle, this last week about when do they actually publish these agendas, because it felt like they should be published and they're just not, and it showed up on Thursday. It's 72 hours, like basically 72 business hours, right? So 3 days, which like, okay. I get that. I wish it would come out a little bit earlier, but I get they're still putting stuff on the agenda. So, and you can get to these on the, if you just type in Apple Valley, California Town Council agenda, it'll be the first one. So, so there's a few things on here. The big thing, and I know you wanted to touch on this, Ted, is after like all the opening ceremonies and everything, is the selection of the mayor pro temp, because we did have one, but I guess it changes. Honestly, I'm not too familiar with what that title is and what that position is and how often it changes. And so,
Basically, what Mayor
yeah,
Pro Tem is that he replaces the mayor if the mayor is not there to officiate the meeting. If
okay,
he's gone, if he's out of town or he's sick or something like that, it's like the vice mayor steps in and runs the meeting.
okay, interesting. All right. Well, that's a pretty simple thing. But is it done like every, honestly, I don't know, every year or every like 2 years, or how's that? Is it change? I'm guessing, or
I think it goes every 2 years.
2 years. Okay. And so the reason we're bringing this up, right? They're going to select it. I want to say was it Kurt Emick who's the current one?
Yeah, Kurt Emmerich
Yep.
is the current mayor pro tem.
So they're going to, the council members will be selecting their mayor pro tem, not the people. The council will be selecting it on this next meeting. That's the first agenda item, and then after they do that, they will recess. They'll reorganize their nameplates and shift places, and then they'll come back together to a meeting. So I don't know.
Yeah, so you're going to have either Larry Cusack, Archbishop, or Kerry Leone. It's going to be the next mayor pro tem.
So it can't be Kurt
And I
Emick
have
again.
I have my guesses on who that's going to be.
I think we all kind of.
Well, I mean, it makes logical sense.
Yeah.
It makes logical sense because Kurt Emmerich is going into an election period, and you have Kerry Leone that's going into election year.
Yep.
You got to boost Kerry Leone as she's the vice mayor, she's the mayor pro tem. If I'd almost bet my paycheck on that one.
Yeah, I would too. I don't know, I guess we'll see. So Ted, I unfortunately will not be able to be there this Tuesday. I'll be watching it either live or afterwards because we have a funeral we got to go to in Phoenix that day. So, but I will be looking forward to hearing it and then doing this again and talking about it. So I unfortunately can't make any public comments this time, but I know that the public comments, which will come here in a minute, will be huge. They always are very interesting and entertaining, and a really important
That's
part
the
of our
reason why you
community.
go.
Yeah,
That's what comes. I mean, you gotta listen to Kerry Henner to at least kind of like have his 3 minute spiel. That's he's fun.
yeah, yeah. So I love Carrie. He's awesome.
Oh
and-
yeah, you just gotta listen to him popping up onto the thing like Scott Nass has been saying and everything else. He's kind of like you gotta have to smile a little bit.
yeah, and the mustache. Carrie's mustache is amazing. So not Leon,
Oh yeah.
Carrie, another Carrie, male Carrie. So, but public comments. If I'm trying, I want to like set this to the room. Like if no one has seen this before, no one's been to a council meeting. Public comments is a chance where you get 3 minutes. Every resident can have 3 minutes of public comment time to comment on anything they want to. It is. They have some limitations in the agenda item, but let me be clear that it is a protected First Amendment right. So you can say anything you want in those 3 minutes. And I mean, they may try and arrest you if you say something bad, but you'll be protected. That's been proved time and time and again. But it's super important to get in there. And if you have feelings on any of these topics, not necessarily on the agenda, we'll get to those comments in a minute, but information, if you're concerned about the truck and trailer facility on Walloon Navajo, come speak about that for 3 minutes. Heck, I'm not a great public speaker, but I use a lot of AI tools to help me make a good speech. So anyone can do that.
Well, you
Ted,
got to remember one thing that people who do go to public comments and they're asking them questions don't expect answers.
yep,
They're not going to, because they'll say it's not on the agenda and we got to be protected by the Brown Act, but we can't see nothing that's not on the agenda. So, I mean, if you go, I mean, you're just basically, they're there to listen, they'll say thank you and move on. That's it.
yep. And then so yeah, the real quick, you have the 3 minutes to speak. They won't speak or say anything or give you any reaction back, unfortunately. Because the Brown Act, they're not supposed to, well, I'll mention that in a second, but they say they're not allowed to comment on your thing because the Brown Act, because of various reasons, which I'll answer, but they can make minor comments and touch on minor things on your public comments, but they won't a lot of times. No, they use this Brown Act, which was meant, right? And you might have some more insight on this, Ted, but it was meant to protect the city and the actual residents by preventing the town council from having secret meetings, which not Apple Valley necessarily, but in California, they were doing that. And then things would happen and decisions were made without the residents knowing. And so that was the impetus to this. But I can understand where it protects, like in this truck and trailer facility where the owner hasn't come forward. They haven't given their side of the story yet. So I get that. But if you ask a question about a budget, you should answer that. I don't know. Ted, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, honestly, it is true. It's kind of like, why can't you answer a basic question like, why did you vote this way, or say like, when are you planning on doing something with the sing center, or what are you going to do about the well at the park? And it's like, are you saying, well, we're not going to right now. We're not going to do anything with the park. We might bring it up. You're not taking any action, but you're just saying like, we're not right now. We're not doing anything. Or just be honest.
Yep.
I mean, what is the problem with just sitting there saying like, being honest with people and just feeling like this is what's I think once a topic's been discussed, you should be able to not say, well, I'm going to run out there, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. No, you shouldn't say I'm going to do this or that. But it's kind of like, we're not going to do anything right now. We might bring it up in the future. We're not 100% sure, but it's like we'll see. Let me look into something.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, what major corruption thing are you trying to do by looking at park?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm not. I could sit there and say, well, I'm gonna go out and spend $100,000 on this car without no one's vote or whatever. I get that,
Yeah.
but it's like, okay, it's just try to, or why don't you just sit there and put something on the agenda? You have this thing when you on the thing like um, recommendations for future items on the agenda.
Yep.
Okay, you're talking about the horseman. Well, let's put it on the next agenda so we can openly talk about it.
Yeah. Well,
But do they do that?
no. And I'll add something to this, an interesting development this week that I'm sure you would appreciate, because I talked to some other people about this and they thought it was interesting. But my background, right? I kind of we've talked about it briefly. Is I was a military officer, and they're in the military, right? Publications policy matters, right? Words choices matter, right? When it says in a policy, you shall do this versus you should, or there's no policy at all, that matters, right? It makes a difference in how you do things. Well, fast forward to this week. I called up, same thing. I talked to Kyle at the town clerk's office, and I said, asked him about a number of things. Then I asked him, so, hey, Kyle, what is the policy, the town council or town policy law, or is it just something that you guys do about adding items to the agenda? And he said, well, we just, it's a town council member thing. It has to be them. Or, they have to suggest it, or it has to be from a previous meeting. I said, okay, is that a policy, a law, or is that just something you guys do? And he said, well, that's just what every other council does in the city, every other, council, up here. And so that's what we do. So why can't I, as a resident or another resident, add an agenda item to talk about, for example, like budget shortfalls and using the reserve funds to balance the budget? They said, well, we just don't do that. I said, well, it matters, so here's the deal. I'm going to send a letter or drop it off probably and add an item to the agenda, see what you guys say about why you don't want to put it on there, because then we'll talk some more. Because there's some things that do need to be addressed that they're not talking about and hiding behind the Brown Act, like the budget that Carrie Leone has admitted has some issues.
Oh yeah, that's going to be hit so hard in public comments
Yeah.
on the night. Basically she opened up her mouth and stuck her foot in it.
Yeah, and we need to be able to talk about it, and they can't hide behind the Brown Acts anymore. We need to.
And that's the one thing they do with the Brown Act, but the whole thing is maybe something that you don't know because they're not telling you.
Yeah.
And I know this is that the mayor can put anything he wants on the agenda because being the title of mayor, he can put it on. Anything that the council members have to make a suggestion and it has to be seconded by another member of the council to be able to put on the agenda. So it's kind of like when it comes to the anything, it has to be consent of the council. If the council does not want to push it forward, it'll never be there.
Interesting. Yeah, and I find that I'm curious because that's why I asked Kyle, who was a member of the town's clerk office, so he would know, like, hey, what is the law? Is there a law? Do you have a council policy? And he said no. So I have a feeling that that's just status quo, and that's going to get challenged this next month for the January meeting. So we'll see.
Well, that's why I say they're not going to like me, but honestly, I'll build everything out. Let's pull Kerry Hard, because we all love Kerry Hard.
Yeah.
He sits there and says, why don't you do I want this answer. I'll sit there and say, like, okay, let's get this on the agenda for next time so we can give this poor boy who wants all these answers, give him some answers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how hard is it to get the town answers? The people of this town want answers, give it to them.
Obviously, it's hard. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. I'll let you know. We'll keep everyone updated, but we'll keep going here for now, just so I could talk about that for a long time. But
Oh, we probably have us a whole day talking about that.
yeah. After the recess, they're gonna have touch on a couple of these briefly, just so we people are aware of them. The Mayor's Youth Leadership Summit, started by Art Bishop, who was the mayor, now just a town council member, and they're gonna do homeless packages, and they need that approved by the town council for people in the community. So they have a bunch of sponsors. It's pretty cool. Just something to touch on briefly.
Yeah.
Um, Public comments we have again. So please, if any of these topics are something out of the blue you want to talk about, please come. You come at 6:30 or preferably beforehand, a few minutes. You sign a little piece of paper. You don't even have to put your. I think you have to put your name, but that's it. You don't have to put your phone number.
Scott, there's one thing I do want to tell you that just popped in my brain.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Ted.
Public comments is something that you can speak on anything you want, and you get that 3 minutes. These individual agenda items,
Yes.
they have another part where you can talk specifically about the agenda items, but you have to stay on topic. You sit there and say, like, you can talk about
Yep.
the thing that you can have another 3 minutes, and you have to fill out another card. And you have to stay on topic of the agenda item, but you can speak another time. You can so you don't have to waste your public comments on an agenda item. They give you another time to where you can speak about the agenda item correctly.
Yes. That is a good point, and I forgot to mention that. Public comments and comments on agenda items are separate. Public comments, anything you want, 3 minutes. Agenda item comments, I believe, are still 3 minutes, but you have to stay on topic, and then the council can answer you in that point
Yeah.
because it's on that item. So very important. And public comments are first, and then you make comments on agenda items as the items come up. So yeah, that's a good point. Good point. So the other things on here, they approve the minutes. So they basically type up brief things that happened in the last council, and you can see that from like the previous agenda items. The agenda, they do the commercial warrants and wire transfers, the normal payments. So take a look at those. And then payroll schedule they do, which, as far as I understand, has nothing crazy in it. I took a look at it. There's nothing really ridiculous with it. But the two other items I'll just touch on briefly, just something to know about. And we mentioned these not to go into too much depth of them, but just that way, if it does matter to you, you can do some research on them, and then you can make comments about these things. That's I mean, the whole impetus of why I wanted to do this and talk to people in the community about this. So first one briefly is they're voting on adopting an ordinance 572 that talks about code California building and standards. So they do these things routinely, and they update a lot of the codes that you need in the city and in the town rather, and they set different like enforcement standards, that kind of stuff. So nothing too crazy. Ted, anything to say on that one? It's nothing.
No, it's all basic. It's pretty much basic junk.
Yeah. So that's 572, and then the other one is 574, where they're amending special speed limits, basically, where they're going to revise the list of streets and speed limits on those streets, and they have a list in the agenda. If you look at the full agenda about what all of the speed limits should be on each of the different streets, and that's pretty much it. So, I mean, I guess if you want a different speed limit on a street, then you can talk about it. But that's Ted. Anything on that one?
No, it's all basic.
Yeah. And then the other thing that was on here, the next agenda in January will be January 13th at 6:30 p.m. So, that's the big stuff on it. There's business of the council. They talk about that kind of stuff. If they're going to have a closed session, the town manager has comments and updates if he wants to give. And, that's something else we should mention. Town manager is switching out, and I don't know when exactly he's starting. I think he's already started. I can't remember. Ted, are you aware?
I'm not for sure, but probably. I mean, I would definitely probably get beat just a little bit wet, but it's kind of like he does. I don't think he really knows he's walking into, because it's kind of like he's coming from a small town of 9,000 people, and he's walking into this, and it's kind of like, I don't think he's going to be ready. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun year. It's definitely be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a and we'll kind of wrap everything up with this, right? Is that I think all too often people forget about small town politics, right? They're too focused on, the big stuff, right? On national politics, left versus right, all of that stuff, and they forget about, well, hey, the local park that's down here that's being built, and I mean that has issues, right? That well, we won't talk about McConnell Park here today, but uh,
Mm.
but people forget about that, and it's super important to take an active role in your local government. I mean, I know, I started talking to you, Ted, in the last few months, and that came about through the truck and trailer project, but we really need to be aware of what's going on. We need to, at least at a minimum, read through the agenda and see if there's something important. Um, we need to play a part in it. Otherwise, people are going to run the city out from under us, and we've seen that for
And that's the
too
whole
many
thing.
years.
It's kind of like they see these things like with the truck and trailer park is they and the roundabout. It's like, oh, they're doing this. Oh, let me go do that. It's already done and over with.
Hmm. And we
You
got
got to
lucky.
you got to keep an eye on it. You just want okay, this doesn't affect me or anything else. Okay, good. But it's kind of like if you don't know them, they're going to just do whatever they're going to want to do.
Yeah, and I think the city, the town council and mayor, all of them, I think they are surprised. And I think they were caught off guard by the level of involvement the residents are starting to take in the city, and I
Yeah,
think that's
they are
really scared
definitely
them.
shocked. Not from coming from good sources that I have. They are uncomfortable right now.
Good. That's how they should be. They're public servants. So, you know,
Well, I mean, you hear them sit there saying, "We love Apple Valley. We want the best for it. We're doing this out of the goodness of our heart." If it was a couple of meetings ago, he's like, "You heard Scott Nass saying, like, oh, we don't get paid this much, so we're doing this out of the good of our hearts." It's like, well, yeah, well, bless your heart, there, Scott Nass. It's kind of like it's like you're this great woman. It's like, give me a
yeah.
break.
Yep. And then there's issues of, well, you actually have to live in the district that you're like running for or being a district member of, and what is that? What counts as living in the district? I won't go further than that on this one, but there are some questions, and I want council members to
Well, I
know.
mean,
So,
I'll give you one little tidbit about that. Before they did the 4 districts and mayor, the first district lines had 5 districts.
mhm.
And it's amazing that in it was supposed to be I think District 5.
Hmm.
There's no District 5, just want you to know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It had Scott Nassif and Larry Cusack who lived next door to each other on top of the hill, that nice little thing they looked down on. And it realized it's kind of like one of them is going to lose their seat.
So why would
So
they?
it's kind of like they quickly fix that to kind of like make it 4, and like they do in Atlanta, they have a mayor, and they elect a mayor.
Yep.
So that was the easy little fix, so they could keep their seats.
Yeah, and real quick, I'll show people here. So this is the town district map, right? So you got the different districts, and I don't know if it'll actually tell you, okay, which district they are per se, but District 5, District 3, District 1, and so on and so
If there's
forth.
a District 5 on that, then that's an old map.
Yeah, it is. Okay, well, this is what was on the official town website.
That's kind of, they switched everything out, and it's like it's really confusing. But that's an old map.
Interesting. Well, that is frustrating that it's still on their official portal and their website. So, huh.
Well, yeah, I mean, before they switched everything over, I could get everything on the agenda and everything that was on it and all the information. I can't get that anymore.
Yeah. Here, I did find one here. Let me bring it up. Um, the updated map here. Let's see if I can zoom in. There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
So, also, it's a really hard map to read, I think, in general, but that's neither here nor there. uh, so interesting. But I mean, I think they're scared, and I think if the town keeps talking about these things, keeps playing a role, keeps like being a force to be reckoned with, we can actually get things done in the town that's for the better of the city and not for the better of the council. And so that's why I wanted to bring, bring all of this to you guys, bring, have Ted on because he's super smart on the town politics, and hopefully a town council member here in about another 11 months. So hopefully, God
Well, we're
willing.
gonna give it we're gonna put the pedal to the metal January 1.
Yep. So we appreciate Ted you coming out to talk about this stuff and to help inform the public. Our goal with this is to do this basically the weekend before the town council meeting so people can listen and be informed. But we'll
Scott,
have
we're gonna have to sit there and it's gonna Scott the Beard Lacey. It's kind of like you see that
it's,
come on website. It's with site Scott needs some
it's the
business.
power of the beard.
There you go.
So we appreciate it. And like I said, if you're listening to this, make sure to check out the YouTube channel. It'll be linked, same name, High Desert Insiders. And so you could watch the agenda, watch Ted's beautiful face, and we'll be with you guys next week. We will have an episode coming out next week of the normal show, and that's talked to Marissa from Marissa's Table, the local food pantry, which I'm sure you've seen, Ted, on Facebook everywhere. Super interesting story. She's opened up a food pantry in her driveway.
Oh, yeah,
So
I've seen that. That's a great, wonderful thing. That's kind of like, and I see everybody getting in there, putting their stuff in there.
yeah,
That's what it's all about. Is town and people
yeah,
taking care of people.
exactly. So we appreciate everyone joining us today and coming on here, listening and getting more informed and educated on the town. So please make sure to get out there, go to the town council meetings, speak up, and make sure to keep listening and keep staying informed. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.